Are you someone who is on a 408 visa and your 408 visa is expiring soon? Or maybe you can hop on to another 408 visa for 6 months. So basically the time frame you've got is about 6 to 8 months in your hands, and you have to work out something during this time, during the 6 to 8 months time. So if the option you're looking at, and if that's the only option you have available, to go on a student visa, and if you're married, then you may want to work out that who will be doing the course on the student visa. And it also might be a good idea to actually start the course right now while holding the 408 visa, because by the time you launch the student visa, you have done some part of your studies and you can meet the GTE criteria for the student visa. So there are states now that who do not invite applicants on a student visa. For example, Queensland doesn't, and right now we can see even South Australia is requiring 30 hours work, right? So there are some states who are moving to this scenario where they would only invite applicants with full work rights. Even Northern Territory is the same. So in this scenario, you may want to make sure that the person who is holding the skills assessment will not be the one who will be studying. So if your partner can study a master's and you have full work rights, then you have the option of getting the invitation from any of the states. But if you're in a situation where you have to go back to study and you are the person who has the skills assessment, maybe you're a single applicant or your partner did not have a bachelor's prior, then you may want to study in a state which offers invitations to student visa holders. So these states could be New South Wales, even Victoria is okay, even Tasmania is okay with 20 hours work rights. So just make sure that you are choosing your state carefully. Now, because we are working with such a small time frame, we cannot really look at the Queensland's small business owner pathway, because for that one, if you look at it realistically, you do need 8 to 9 months time, because 6 months you have to run the business, and Migration Queensland is sometimes shut, or sometimes the processing is slow, and they also need 2 to 3 months, after that 6 months for the full process to go through by the time you get the invitation. So if you're on a 408 visa, or even if you have another 408 available for 6 months, I still don't recommend going for the small business owner pathway. However, this will work great for someone whose partner can go on a master's, and this primary applicant has got a skills assessment and is struggling with points. For example, you are somebody who can only get 50 points. There is no way you can get higher English, and you cannot increase your points, and your occupation is one of those competitive occupations, for example accountant, or even like some IT occupations, but your partner can go on to do masters. You have full work rights, you are the person who has skills assessment, then you can go and do the business. You can purchase an existing business for 100,000 in regional Queensland, run the business for 6 months, make sure that you pay yourself 30 hours a week, have an employee 20 hours a week, or 2 employees 10 hours a week, run the business for 6 months, and then apply for the expression of interest, as long as you've got skills assessment and 50 points of your own, and state will give you 15 points for the 491 visa. So that's also an option that you can consider if you're struggling with points, and if you're actually genuinely interested to purchase a business and run a business. The other thing you may want to consider is, for example, you have to go back to studying for whatever reason, and the previous skills assessment you've got is highly competitive, you can't get a job, all states require a job, like most of them, then you may want to consider studying a health related course. You could look at, for example, diploma of nursing, and there are providers who provide that course in like 18 months as well. And you might be somebody who does not have a 485 visa option available anyway, then you may want to go for diploma of nursing, because it's on the STSOL. The 485, even if you did it on a student visa, or if like a first student visa, no 485 prior, you would have never got a 485 anyway. But still a very good option, because you could do this course in 1.5 years, get a skills assessment just based on the qualification, no work experience required, but you can plan it in a way that you can package it. You can package the diploma in nursing with some kind of advanced diploma, so that you have got a bit extra time after you complete your nursing course. So you've got about 6 to 8 months extra available so that you can get your skills assessment and get your invitation, because looks like for nurses it's going to be fine for the next 2 to 3 years, and most nurses will get invited before it gets competitive again for the nurses as well. Now, as we all know that there have been few changes with the employer sponsored visas as well. We are waiting for the proper announcements on 25th of November. That's when we will find out what exactly is happening. But based on what we have received right now, there is a possibility that as long as you've got an employer who is ready to sponsor you, your occupation does not necessarily needs to be on the MLTSSL, STSL, ROL. As long as it's any occupation on the NSCO, they can sponsor you. But we are still waiting on 100% confirmation on that. If that happens, what it means is, as long as your employer is ready, you're ready, you meet the minimum work experience requirement for a 482, which is 2 years, you could go on a 482 visa without having to have an occupation on the list. So because sometimes we meet people, they have got the employer, but they are like doing some random jobs which are not in demand in Australia, even though the employer is ready to sponsor them, but these people cannot get sponsored because their occupation is not on the list. So for these applicants, it could be a very good option, very good opportunity. Also, these people who do have employers, I really want you to look at the 494 list, because many people actually ignore that list. There are so many occupations on there which are not actually available on the usual list, and you'll be amazed to see the type of occupations which are available on there, and some of you are actually working in those occupations. So have a look at that one as well. So these are the few options that are available for the 408 visa holders. You just have to be very, very careful what you're going to do right now, because your time frame is so limited. Your 408 is about to expire. You get another 6 months, so you've got like about 7 to 8 months. If you don't get invited in the 7 to 8 months, or if you don't get sponsored, but then with the sponsorship visa there are like other requirements like minimum work experience and things like that. So if you don't get that, then looks like you're hopping back on a student visa. So if you're somebody who is hopping back on a student visa, you just need to be extra cautious about your steps right now, because you've already done this process once and you're doing it again, and you don't want to make any mistakes. If you need any help, if you need any advice, if you're in this situation, please get in touch with us.